Hey everybody, it's Mike again. Just have another message for today. This came to me right from yours truly upstairs, the God Himself. I was driving around today. I had to run out to Towson. For a lot of the you who don't know where that is, it's um, not too far out of Baltimore, about 15 minutes or so outside of the city. From where I was coming from, it was about 20 minutes. So I went out to stop by, see my buddy at a law firm. They got some new swag given out with T-shirts and tumble mugs and Stanley cups or whatever. So I went out, got some of that for pick it up, dropped off some cards. We networked a little bit. He's actually a past client of mine too. He used to be a prosecutor for the county's office, but now he's an attorney. So anyway, that long story short, on my way back, I'm on my Facebook reels, and I'm just scrolling through, scrolling through, and every like single thing that pops up on the screen had something to do with love. Everything did, and then he started giving me songs that had to do with love, like "What Is Love." Um, but the one that stood out to me above any other song that stood out to me that I haven't heard in like forever, was, I think it was Back to the Future's where it was, but from Huey Lewis, it's "The Power of Love." And I'm like jamming to the song. I don't know the lyrics, so I'm like, I'm singing them, but I don't know what the hell I'm singing. So, I'm like, but I get to the power of love. I know that part. So, but I'm just like, this song, there's something about it. So I get back to my office and where I'm at now, and I pull up the song and I start reading the lyrics, and I'm just like, wow. Like, wow. And from there, I kind of figured out what I was going to talk about today. So that's how it all worked. It's in the car when it's me and God time, and we're sitting there together, or me and Jesus time, either one works. And we're sitting together, and He's communicating with me. And I'm not breaking any laws. I got my little, hands free little holder in the car, and I just, swipe real quick. I'm not using a handheld device or anything like that. So for all you police officers out there, watching this, trying to get me in trouble, I'm not in trouble um, for doing that. But anyway, I wanted to start this off because we like to usually incorporate a song or something like that into the messages if it's appropriate. But this particular song that came out today, the lyrics are just amazing. So I want you to hear how they go. It's "The power of love is a curious thing. Make a one man weep, make another man sing. Change a hawk to a little white dove, more than a feeling, that's the power of love." Next verse, next verse. "Tougher than diamonds, rich like cream, stronger and harder than a bad girl's dream. Make a bad one good, make a wrong one right." You hear this? Power of love that keep you home at night. Next verse. "You don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life." That's the power of love. That's the power of love. I mean, You can't argue with everything that was just said right there that that's God's explanation of love right there. And music song. And he played it for me in the car when I was driving. But I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Don't forget. So I went from there and I said, all right, well, and I thought to myself, because, it's what is love? What is love? It's complicated, isn't it? When you really sit down and try to process what love is. So what I did what anybody else would do when you don't know what you're doing. Go to Google. So I went to Google and I typed in love in Google. And then looked for what popped up. So I found on Wikipedia what it says love is it says love encompasses a range of strong and positive emotional and mental states, from the most sublime virtue or good habit, the deepest interpersonal affection, to the simplest pleasure. An example of this range meanings is that the love of a mother differs from the love of a spouse, which differs from the love of food, which was what my problem was. Most commonly, love refers to a feeling of a strong attraction and emotional attachment. Love is considered to be both positive and negative, with its virtue representing human kindness, compassion, and affection. The useful-ish, loyal and benevolent concern for the good of another, and its vice representing a human moral flaw akin to vanity, selfishness, and egotism. Let's see. May also describe compassion and affectionate action towards other humans, oneself, or animals in various forms. Love acts as a major facilitator of interpersonal relationships. And then it goes down to the ancient Greek philosophers identified 6 forms of love: familial love, friendly love, platonic love, romantic love, self-love, guest love, and, yes, divine or unconditional love. And it specifically says divine or unconditional love. So then what was interesting is I kept reading down and it said the opposite of love is hate. That's very interesting. Because when people say, what is God? What is God? God is love. He loves you unconditionally, divinely. Right? But who runs on hate? Maybe the devil? Interesting. Very interesting. And love and hate are opposites. So you have God, and then you have devil. Opposites. So let's see what hate is. So we went to Google. We did the same thing. We typed in hate. And it says hate. It says hatred or hate. is an intense, negative, emotional response towards certain people, things, or ideas, usually related to opposition or revulsion towards something. Hatred is often associated with intense, not mild, intense feelings of anger, contempt, and disgust. Hatred is sometimes seen as the opposite of love. Interesting. So, it's interesting that it led me to determine what love was and what hate was, because it seems like, you got love up here and you got hate down here, but they're constantly fighting each other. Constantly fighting each other. And right now in this country, we have a lot of hate, a lot of evil, a lot of wickedness, a lot of sin. It's out of control. Out of control. The stuff that's going on. And, God's not very happy about it. He's not. And he wants to see things change, which is one of the reasons why I do this podcast. It's to get other people to believe in God so that they decide to surrender their lives over to him, so that God can then love them unconditionally and give them wisdom and teach them how to be the best human being that they can be. Kind of like the army, only you're with God's army, You don't just get everything you want. You got to go through boot camp first. You got to earn it. And then there's levels. You don't just get to be general out of boot camp. You gotta earn your way up the ranks. You gotta pay your dues, which means you gotta go through tests, which means you gotta go through trials and tribulations. And it's not easy. But you learn something from it, just like boot camp. You learn something from it. You learn discipline. You learn obedience. You learn how to trust the people next to you, your fellow soldiers. You learn how to do all kinds of things that you thought you would never be able to do. And then you get confidence in yourself. These are the same things that God does for you when he puts you through his boot camp program. And the thing is, he doesn't make you, at least he didn't make me. Maybe he makes other people, but he didn't make me run a mile every morning in 5 minutes flat, at 4 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't that bad. It's just little tests. Like today I had a test. I'm driving to my buddy's law firm office. I'm driving down the Beltway to get there. Well, I see this car pulled over on the side of the road. And I see this elderly lady getting out of the car. And I see she started walking around to the passenger side. Well, I wasn't at a spot at that time where I could have safely slowed down and pulled over to the side of the road, but I made a mental note and I said, all right, if they're still there, because I'm going to come the same way back that I went, and if they're still there when I come back, then I'm going to have to pull over and see what's going on, see if I can help them. So I come down and I'm like, oh, they're gone, they're gone. Nope, they're still there. And this time, the one lady, the older lady, who's in her like 80s, is literally walking down the side of the emergency lane, the shoulder of the road on the beltway. And I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on? So I went to the next exit. I did a loop around and I came back and I sent and parked behind them. And the daughter came up and talked to me and said, for some reason, when we had stopped before, her purse was on the front of the car. And when I started driving, the purse flew off and went into the slow lane. And we're waiting for the police to come out and do all this and all that. And my concern was that they were okay and that they didn't run out of gas or something like that and didn't need a ride somewhere or whatever. And they didn't. You know, everything was fine. They said they called the police, but the police weren't there. The police weren't there. And they said they've been waiting the entire time for the police to show up. Right? The entire time. Now, it's not an emergency, so you can't expect police to just be there in 2 minutes. I get that. But I said, all right, well, let me call. Let me call. And let's see if we get some help from the man upstairs. So, call, transfer us to the state police like they did to her because it's on the Beltway. Told state police what's going on. And I'll tell you what, within 2 minutes, 2 minutes of me calling, with his help, truck came down. Wasn't a police car. It was a traffic like enforcement type of car that they put up for construction and stuff. And they had it there with the flashing lights to stop traffic for that lane so they could go and get the purse. Within 2 minutes. 2 minutes. This is like, that was a test today. He constantly tests me. But it's like, are you going to just drive by and let him go? Or are you going to see if you can maybe help the situation? Now, and how much, let's figure this out. How much time did it take me to do that? Like 5 minutes? Maybe 10 minutes out of my way? But I helped somebody. And they feel good now because they're stranded on the side of the road and a stranger stopped and helped them. So maybe they now change their perception of the world sucks to there's actually people out there who care about people. So maybe I'll care about people. And maybe they'll pay it forward and maybe they'll help somebody the next time they see somebody. You see how it works? That's how it all works. But back to this, love thing. God loves you no matter what. So even when you're in boot camp and you're starting your program of following him and trying to be an apprentice of Jesus and everything, even when you're starting that, he still loves you. So he's not going to give you anything to do to set you up or have you do something that you can't do. It's easy stuff. It's just stuff that the average person might say, I'm not going to do that. That's not important because it doesn't impact me or I or my ego because I'm selfish, because I don't give to others. I don't give my time to others. I don't help others. Right? Because that's how most people are in life. And I know that because just look at this one incident. I was at my buddy's law firm for probably 45 minutes. So she didn't have one other person stop and try to offer her help. And it's two older ladies. This isn't like, it was like, some scary looking guy that, was like sketchy looking or whatever. This is like two older ladies, like your grandmother. Like that's the type of people that were on the side of the road. Non-threatening. And nobody stopped to help. Nobody. Except me. in 45 minutes. That's pathetic. Love thy neighbor. Isn't that one of the commandments? I think it's one of the top ones, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, what's going on right now in this world is that the devil is out of control. And he's got so much hate and so much addiction and so much depression and anger. And anger, wasn't that one of the, it was anger, contempt, and disgust. He's got so many people who are disgusted by their lives, the jobs they have to have, things they hate. And then the anger, that's the key. That's that verb, that people act on anger. And they're angry because they don't have money, so they rob somebody and they stick a gun in their face, I mean, it's not like somebody woke up one day and just said, I think I'm just going to get a gun and stick it in somebody's face just because. There's a reason why they're doing it. And the government doesn't want to sit around and figure it out. So here's the thing, people. If the government's not going to help us, which we all know they're not, no matter who's in office, all right, why don't we go with somebody that can help us? Why don't we go and try the man upstairs out? He was with everybody when we founded this country. And yeah, not everything was perfect. They did mess some things up when they started separating the states, and then, then they had slavery, and then they had segregation, and they had, that was messed up. But that was man-made. That wasn't God-made. That was greed. That was devil. That was trying to take advantage of people to make your own gain, your own financial gain, greed. That's what all that was about. And then the hate towards people of color, and not letting them sit down next to you just because they're black. Like, what? That makes sense to me. You're either a human or you're not a human. And soon it's going to be you're either a human or you're a robot. And we haven't even had that conversation yet. So us humans need to get together. Like my wife says, we need to get it together. It's her signature line. Get it together. And it's the truth. We need to get it together. Together. Get it together. It can mean different things depending on how you say it. But together means all of us getting it, which is taking it back, which is our country, which is our freedom, which is our livelihoods. Which is our eternal lives. So not only can you help the country, you can help save yourself and guarantee yourself access into heaven. And if you're good enough and you earn a high enough rank, you might even be able to get a VIP access ticket. Sit next to Jesus or something. Who knows? I don't know how all that works. All I know is that there's more hate than there's love. Like, a lot more. And love will never win when there's so much hate out there that we have. And remember what I've said in other videos. Hate is everywhere. Hate is in the music that you listen to. Hate is in the TV shows that you watch and the movies that you watch. And it is in anything that goes into your brain. It is out in life when you're driving and people are cutting you off and flying around everybody. Just let them go. I mean, there's no need to just get your blood pressure up and get angry and start giving people the finger and wanting to get out and fight them in the traffic and everything. It's crazy. People are crazy. Love thy neighbor. Forgive thy neighbor. Pray for them. Maybe they got something going on that they're nuts about and they need to relax and say a quick prayer for them. Something like that. You know? But as long as there's more hate than there is love, then hate will win. And that's what we're seeing right now. Hate is winning. And how's that working out for y'all? Because the top 2% might be all right. But everybody else, I'm pretty sure these last, several years, and not just 4, but several years, we've just had things it's not going the way God wants it to go. Okay? I'll just put it to you just like that. That's how the Spirit's giving it to me right now. Things are not going the way that God wants it to go. And if we piss him off, he may just send Jesus back. Everybody's talking about the end of times, and all this stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen right now. If we could somehow turn this country around and have people believing in love again and believing in God again, truly believing, truly following, truly surrendering themselves and entering into God's boot camp, it's not for the weak. I mean, I get that. But see, that's no problem. If you get enough strong people, they will eventually help the weak people. But right now we have a few strong people. Not a lot. And we get attacked every day by the devil because he doesn't want us to be connected to God. And he's trying to scare us. And he's trying to intimidate us. And he's trying to lie to us. And he's trying to manipulate us. And he's trying to, do some mind games up there with us. With people that we know, people who are close to us. All that. That all happens. That's all real. It's called spiritual warfare. And see, most people don't want to speak up about this stuff. Most people don't want to talk about this stuff because they're scared out of their ever-loving mind that they're going to be attacked somehow by a demonic spirit. But see, me, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not scared. I have God. God's got my back. He will protect me no matter what, because nothing's going to stop us. Ever. And that's why I do these podcasts, because he needs somebody who will speak up and tell the truth to people about what's really going on in this world. So everybody just needs to wake up and just go to God. Just go to God. Turn your lives over to God. That's what it's all about. We get enough love, it will drown out the hate, and the hate will eventually die. And then it'll just be love. And you'll be living, like I talked about yesterday, heaven on earth. That's how I live. And the word that I forgot to put in the video yesterday, that I should have put in there, which is probably the most impactful word, is it's like living in total bliss. And if you don't know what bliss is, BLISS, excuse me, Google that. It is like joy times 50. The perfect peacefulness anywhere. You know what? Let's do it real quick. Let's just Google it. I got my computer right here, so let me Google it. So bliss definition. Reach a state of perfect happiness, typically so as to be oblivious of everything else. Perfect happiness, great joy. Complete happiness, enjoying eternal bliss in heaven. Marital bliss, the sheer bliss of an afternoon at the spa or paradise heaven. That's what it's like when I live my life every day. And I enjoy doing these videos. This is what God wants me to do for you. So you can share them. Share them with everybody you know. This is authentic. This is real. This is true. And it is what everybody needs to hear, whether they know it or not. This is what they need to hear right now, before it's too late and he gets mad. I don't want to see God mad. I've seen what he can do when he gets mad. He's shown me stuff. Things that he's done in the world recently. They reported on the news. Some of that stuff that happens is not just a freak accident. Some of the stuff is actually God. He happens. He does stuff to send messages to people who don't listen to him and who don't obey him. So think about that and change your life. I love y'all, as always. God bless every one of you. And just like it, love it, click on it, share it, give it a thumbs up, and comment, and I'll talk to you soon.